to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and you're about to listen to a reasonably short hypnosis session that uses elements of disassociation and association to help a client that had a fear of mice and rats. Now, I'd already done a lot of work with the client before this final 15 minutes. This was a way for them to go through their memories, think of all the times they felt real anxiety at either seeing a mouse, seeing a rat, or thinking about them. A lot of people with phobias get most of their anxiety from the thoughts about them rather than the actual event. And what this does is it has this idea of a cinema. It's a very useful tool for staged disassociation. They see themselves as they were in the memory. Then they imagine rewinding it, seeing themselves as they would want to be with lots of confidence. And when they're absolutely certain that version of them has the resources to handle that situation, then they take a first-person perspective. So what this does is it disassociates from the anxiety and then starts with disassociation from a resource state like confidence before associating into the confidence in the same context that would cause the anxiety normally. So what we need to do is to remove the link between anxiety and the stimulus before introducing a new resource state. This was for mice and rats. You can use a variation of this for almost any phobia. So essentially, you're seeing a memory of what actually happened, but as if you're observing yourself like you're someone else. You rewind it, you play it forward with the resource state, and then imagine jumping into that and experiencing it from a first-person perspective, knowing that if any anxiety comes up, you can just jump back out and then observe from a third-person perspective until you can get all the way through the memory from a first-person perspective while feeling resourceful. And this links to this idea of neuroplasticity, creating a new neural pathway linked to the very context that had the previous neural pathway. If you have a fear of mice or rats, you'll get more value from this. But if you would like a bespoke session, and the majority of what happened with this client is not what happened in this hypnosis session, it's what happened before. So if you do like the idea of getting rid of a phobia that maybe you've had for many years, maybe even decades, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule a completely free consultation call. We'll have a chat, and it might be that I end up helping you to completely eliminate your phobia in just a few sessions, as I've done for many hundreds of other people. So if that appeals to you, check out the link in the comments. For now, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, just feel a wonderful feeling of relaxation, as if on every outward breath you're releasing more anxiety, more stress, more tension. Each breath takes you deeper and deeper relaxed, breathing in a wonderful feeling of resourceful relaxation. And as you exhale, feel that feeling of release, as if each breath takes you deeper to a place that amplifies neural plasticity. Neurologists say neurons that fire together wire together. And what if there are areas in your life that you ooze confidence, a feeling of your skills and capacity exceed the demand that you're facing. Situations that would intimidate other people, but for you, you feel calm, composed, confident. And what if those neurons that know how to be confident start firing when you start thinking about mice or rats? I want you to get a feeling that your anxiety linked to mice and rats is just a conditioned response. At some point in your childhood, you felt intense anxiety to either what they look like or what you imagine them to be like. And that created a trigger. But what if that trigger was based on false information? What if mice only make you feel anxious because you believe that they make you feel anxious? And the moment you can feel confident while seeing or thinking about a mouse, then means that you don't mind if there is a mouse there, because it no longer makes you feel anxious anymore. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine a staircase leading to your own private cinema. And as I count down from 10 to 1, you will imagine walking down that staircase, opening a door, and walking into your own private cinema. 10, taking the first step down, feeling more and more relaxed. 9, even deeper breathing now. 8, feel relaxation in your jaw, around your eyelids, your forehead. And 7, your neck and your shoulders start to let go of any tension they're holding on to. 7 becomes 6 and your arms feel limp, loose and heavy. 5, your breathing slows down. Breathing out for longer than you breathe in. And 4, feel that relaxation going down into your gut. That's it. 3, even more relaxed, legs feeling limp, loose and heavy. And 2, down into your ankles. And then 1, from the tip of your toes to the top of your head, all the way down to the tips of your fingers. Feel that ripple of relaxation as you find yourself at the bottom of that staircase. Imagine opening the door and walking into your own private cinema. And in that private cinema, find the most comfortable chair. And on the screen, I want you to see a time in your life where you've had unshakable confidence. Something that might intimidate or make someone else nervous, but you then, in that moment, had unshakable confidence, certainty that you could handle that situation well. I want you to notice how you breathe, your facial expressions. Notice your posture, and just start to mimic how you look when you have unshakable confidence. Breathe that way, feel that way, and then step into the screen and feel how you would feel to have unshakable confidence. Notice that you might be breathing longer, deeper, more from the diaphragm. You're in a dialogue, if you have any. It might say, I can do this. I know how to do this. This is fine. And it would be true. And then I want you to imagine keeping that feeling of unshakable confidence moving back to the chair where you can see the screen. And then I want you to think of of a time in your past that you had some kind of anxiety linked to a mouse or a rat. And I want you to imagine seeing that memory on the screen like you're an actor in a film. You are not in the movie, you're just observing the movie. And I want you to see that mouse, that rat, or the idea of it changed how you were breathing, changed your facial expression. And that just means that in the past, seeing or thinking of a mouse or a rat did make you feel that way in the past. But I want you to imagine rewinding it and just imagine that unshakably confident version of you dealing with the same situation. And that version of you has no fear, no anxiety of mice or rats at all. And I want you to see how you would handle the same situation differently. Again, like an actor on a screen, if that version of you had unshakable confidence. And if you could imagine that version of you handling that situation well, let me know by nodding your head. And just rewind it, do it again, try different variations. And in every iteration and variation, you have no more fear of that mouse, that rat, or even the thought of one. See yourself handling the situation well. And when you are absolutely certain that that version of you would be unfazed and unbothered by a mouse or a rat or the thought of one, let me know by nodding your head. Try all the iterations until you find your favorite. That version of you confident, unbothered, dealing with the situation in a way that means you handle the situation but with the absence of anxiety. And when you see that version of you on the screen, confident even if there is a mouse or a rat or the thought of one, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Rewind it all the way to the beginning and then imagine floating into the screen. And just imagine you're now taking a first-person perspective as someone with unshakable confidence. I want you to feel that you would be unfazed, unbothered, thinking or seeing a mouse or a rat. And then imagine reliving that memory as you would want to if you weren't bothered by it. Feel yourself breathing confidently, moving confidently, even thinking confidently. And then imagine the same situation. And yet now, it doesn't bother you. That mouse, that rat, or the thought of one is no different than if it was a sparrow, a robin, a parrot. It's as insignificant as that. It doesn't bother you at all. And I want you to imagine going from the beginning of the memory to the end in this new way, feeling unshakably confident, unbothered, unfazed. And once you've got to the end of that memory, feeling proud, confident, I want you to feel that what happens in your mind can easily be transferred to reality, because the neural pathway to imagine something vividly is no different from the neural pathway that would handle it in reality. If you've had anxiety at the idea of something, you already know that to be true. But if you can have anxiety at the idea of something, you can also have self-confidence at the idea of doing something. And when you've experienced that memory in that new, calm, confident way, Let me know by nodding your head. And you get to do as many times as you want. Do it one more time just to make sure that you feel that no matter what happens, you can deal with it. And once you're certain that the look of a mouse or the shape of a rat now just seems to make you more confident, more defiant, you still don't want it anywhere near you, but you can handle it. And when that feels like it's true, let me know by nodding your head. And you realize you can go back here to this screen, harnessing different times of confidence and thinking of different memories of anxiety. And all you're doing is imagining what it would be like to see yourself confident in that same situation, and then to feel confident in the same situation. And the more you do that, the more those neural pathways are linking confidence to the idea of a mouse or a rat until it becomes second nature. You didn't walk at your first attempt. You had to fall over a few times until you found your balance. Your mind is building a new neural pathway to feel confident at the thought or the idea. And the more you practice, and the more you change memories into new ideas, the quicker it becomes a reality. If your unconscious mind understands, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. So imagine leaving that screen, that seat, walking out, opening the door, walking up a staircase, and then imagine floating back to your reality, but taking that feeling and that belief with you. You were never afraid of mice or rats. Your brain had just linked a particular emotion to how they look and how they sound. And that's now changing. And once it changes, you don't have to work at it. That's just the way it becomes. So float back to the here and the now, taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.